In the next few minutes, we're going to talk about political campaign strategies. Now, if you are a candidate running for office, or if you are someone who is working for a candidate trying to win an election, the information that you're going to learn from this is going to be invaluable to you, because I'm going to do a deep dive into the nuts and bolts. So I'm going to suggest sit back, relax, and give me 10 minutes of your time. The most important element of any campaign strategy is your campaign message. For this simple reason, if it's not good, your volunteers won't show up, your money will never come in, there won't be much money for advertising if your message sucks. So we're going to talk about how to create, first and foremost, a compelling campaign message. Now, how do you make yours compelling? You talk about how you're going to fight to get people something that they want. A problem that you are going to fix that will improve their quality of life. Something that you are going to do that will cut their cost of living. What you might do that would make their streets and neighborhoods safer. What you're going to do to give their kids a nicer playground. Something that you will do one way or the other, improving the schools or what have you, that will improve their quality of life and give them a bigger bang for the taxes that they are paying. That's the beginning of a campaign message, what you're going to do for voters. Now, if they like what you have to say, they will take an interest in you. They're going to want to know along the way what makes you qualified to do the job. They're going to want to know that your moral code and notions of right and wrong are in sync with theirs. They're going to be looking for proof that they can trust you to do the right thing even when they're not looking. They'll be looking at some point for clarity over what makes you a better candidate than the other people on the ballot. Those are the 5 components of a campaign message. No campaign strategy is complete without it. Second point to consider is, who do you need to reach in a political campaign? Now, here's the truth about our politics in this day and age. You can't be all things to all people. Sometimes you got to kind of pick a side, and because we have a very polarized political electorate, which means no matter what you say or what you do or what kind of effort you make, there are some people in your jurisdiction that are not going to vote for you. It's because of who you are, or you, as far as they're concerned, you may belong to the wrong party. That means you don't get their vote. There's no point in talking to them. There's no point in trying to have a dialogue with them. Why waste a dime on people who are not going to vote for you? Target your resources to people who can be persuaded to support you, or those who will vote for you if you get them out to vote. That is the beginning of what we call your targeting. Now, there are a number of ways that you can look at a jurisdiction and kind of figure out areas where it's easy for you to get votes and areas where it's hard. So start by looking at the geographic contours of your district. Is there a rural section, an urban section, a suburban section? All of those pieces of the electorate have different voting patterns. Look at the demographics of your audience, their age, their income, whether they own or rent, the ethnicity, the race, the education level, net worth of those who live in your community, and you can make judgments then about the kind of people that you think are most likely to vote for you. If you don't know, test a few of them, see what kind of response you get, and you'll begin to see a pattern of those who stick with your message or stick to it, and those who ignore you. If you do not do this kind of targeting, you're going to end up wasting a lot of money on people who will not vote for you. If you have no idea where to find this kind of data, leave a comment in the comment section and I'll tell you where you can get it. Now we're going to talk about how you disseminate your message. And there are a myriad of ways in this day and age of modern politics. The easiest, and in some ways the least expensive, is now social media. It is the most powerful tool ever invented because you can reach thousands of voters by posting on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and even X, or Twitter as it used to be called. And the more you do of that, the more likely it is that they will notice you. And here's kind of the way it works. You start slow, but frequent. Meaning, when you start doing a organic Facebook campaign, with Facebook, it takes a little while to get it off the ground. But if you are issuing the right message and you're aiming it toward a certain slice of the electorate that you can actually win, something magic begins to happen. The more you post, the more people see it. The more people who like what you have to say, the more who share it. And gradually you will build a loyal following, not only on Facebook, but you can do the same thing on Instagram, you can do the same thing on YouTube, you can do the same thing on TikTok. Your job with social media is to begin building a grassroots campaign. Now, I'll add two things that are useful to know. You can actually pay YouTube to deliver a 5, 10, or 15-second video to people who live in a certain zip code. You can actually pay Facebook to deliver ads to a list that you upload to Facebook saying, I want people on this list to see my ad. And that way you get into their news feed in a high-ranking position so they can't miss it when they log into Facebook in the morning. All of these are ways to disseminate your message, to grab volunteers, maybe even to raise some money through the adroit use of social media. Another tried and true way to disseminate your message are the words that come out of your mouth. Every candidate I've ever met at some point during the course of a campaign is invited to stand up on stage and say a few words. Some candidates do that 3 and 4 and 5 times a day. They give speeches. They perform in debates. They do press conferences. They do endorsement conferences where people gather around to announce that they're endorsing the candidate. On each and every one of those occasions, a candidate is saying words. They're saying something that's pithy. They're saying something that's memorable. They're saying something that is colorful. They are saying things that are interesting enough that it makes the cut on the evening TV newscast because of the surroundings and because of the way they said what they said. It is simple grassroots campaigning, and it's a great way to disseminate a message. It has been with us since the beginning of time, and it's still an invaluable way to do it. Third way to disseminate your message is what I call a ground operation. We've done this hundreds of times in a political campaign. We'll get together at campaign headquarters and we will say we need to flood the zone in this neighborhood. We need to carve out this geographic area and blitz it. And what we'll do is recruit a group of volunteers to tackle that neighborhood on a Saturday afternoon, where they knock on every door that we've given them to knock on. They ring the doorbell. If nobody's home, they put a piece of literature in the front door so the owner sees it when they get home. If people come to the door and they engage, they listen to the conversation, they say something nice about the candidate, offer to give them the handout, ask them to vote. You can make a big difference with a ground operation like that in jurisdictions large and small, but what happens when you blitz a neighborhood, you'll find that there are some homeowners who will agree to put up your yard signs, which is the second step after you've blitzed. Go back the next day and put up in yard signs in yards where people gave you permission to do it. That's a sign to other people in the neighborhood that you've been there and you left tracks in the ground. The fourth and tried and true way to disseminate a message is with paid advertising. Now, universally in suburban districts around the country, and urban and rural, it is very common for people in your target list to receive what we call persuasion mail during the weeks preceding an election. Mail can be very effective if you design it correctly, make it easy to read, easy to skim, use decent pictures, make judicious use of the white space around your words so at one glance somebody can get a point from your mail piece. There are also many communities that still have dominant radio stations, which are a great and useful advertising medium. There are 3 or 4 different kinds of television that are useful for reaching voters. One is commercial. If you're running, for example, for mayor of Atlanta, you need commercial television if you expect to win an election. But there's also cable TV that reaches niche audiences. There's what we call CTV, which is TVs that are connected to a cable system. There's what we call over-the-top TV, which is for those who don't subscribe to cable but do have access to high-speed internet. If you have voters in your universe that are doing that, and almost every jurisdiction now does, you have the option of using what we call digital advertising. Because if they have an internet connection, they have an IP address. And that IP address is known. And that IP address is available if you're willing to pay for those IP addresses. If you have that IP address, you can target the very device that they're using when they're online. And it's a great way to reach people and disseminate your message. Yeah, I do have a free gift for you. It's a video that I'm going to suggest you watch. It's a little bit longer than this one, but it goes into a deeper dive of how to win a political campaign. The title of it is How to Run for Office, 7 Essential Steps. If you're serious about winning an election, I suggest you go there now. Keep a pencil because you're going to want to take notes when you get there.